Alright everybody, welcome on back to Dead Space. Jumping right on into Chapter 2 here. I actually did a little bit of backtracking just so I could use that save station back there, but going back towards where we found the Kinesis module, if you do end up backtracking through this hallway, sometimes a single slasher will jump out at you through that vent. Sometimes, but not all the time. And coming through here, move all this shit out of your way with Kinesis so that you can find a nice bronze semiconductor in that wall safe. And we're moving on. So we are beginning Chapter 2 in earnest.
Gotta hold the line. They all came back.
That lady drops the pulse rifle. Thank you, nice dying lady, for your parting gift. The pulse rifle is, I'm not gonna lie, fellas, the pulse rifle is not the best weapon, but it is good to have. And I am going to be using it quite a bit throughout this playthrough. Generally, the pulse rifle it's not very good at dismembering the necromorphs, therefore it is not very good in most situations. But the alt fire on the pulse rifle is a nice grenade. So we will be getting a lot of use out of that grenade launcher. It's going to be pretty good against the wall guardians, lurkers, and brutes.
Isaac, have you heard from Daniel? We were attacked. She ran the other way.
No, nothing. Medical's a slaughterhouse. They barricaded access to the morgue.
The morgue?
Yeah, but the barricade was put together in a hurry. A hydrazine tank might blow it open. Just need a detonator, like maybe a shock pad. Nicole could be through there if...
Isaac, the one who attacked us. I swear to God it was Chen. But I saw him die. If they barricaded the morgue, maybe it was to keep something in.
Spooky. Alright, so we're going to take a little pit stop at the store here. I think all I really did was sell my semiconductor, and I don't really remember what else I did here, but yep, I think that's it. So now we've got to destroy that barricade so that we can actually access the emergency room. And to that effect, we need a hydrazine doohickey bob and a shock pad. And of course we've got this guy, this infamous headbanging guy from the first game. And a stasis recharge station right there. So when you move this out of the way, make sure that you actually go on the right here, because there's some items in this room. Nice little stomp box. It ain't much, but it's honest work. Also, necromorph ambush inbound. I tried to grab the fan blade so that I could kill him without using as much ammo, but my Kinesis module had other plans. But yeah, a little pro tip, whenever necromorphs burst out at you through a vent, look for the fan blade, because you can use Kinesis, and you can throw it at the necromorph to dismember them, and it does a lot of damage. Case in point, pretty sure I end up showing it off right here. This douche who jumps out. I accidentally dropped the fan, but I was able to salvage some tactics here by the grace of God and stasis. But yeah, as you can see, the fan blade is pretty damn useful. Good way to dismember some limbs while saving some ammo. Right here, we've got our power node. First of 4 power nodes in this chapter, I think. And we can't really do anything else in this room, so... When you put this battery in, before you power on the elevators, you actually want to power on the doors, because that'll allow you to backtrack this way, and you can go in here now. There's really not much in here except for a log, a nice audio log, a little bit of items to pick up.
I hear the tests on patient Harris were inconclusive. Given the reports from the colony, he's lucky to have his faculties at all. Well, a divine experience would leave an impression on anyone's mind. Perhaps. I found nothing divine in all that blood. The suicide. The first is a revelation terror. We just need more insight to translate it. You think this insight can be found in Mr. Harris's psyche?
Again, I was looking for a fan blade, but I couldn't find it, so plasma cutter away. Leaper ended up being kind of a little bitch, too.
And your method... Look, Mercer, things are complicated enough already. I can't sign off on this. You'll do what's best, of course, but... How long can we afford to wait?
So I'm getting that fan blade into position here because of that necromorph that you just saw in the window. It's planning a nice cheeky little ambush, so I set up the fan blade so that I can, you know, do this. Aim for the legs, put him into gimp crawl mode, and then just finish him off with a couple shots. It's really that easy. The Kinesis module, especially on hard difficulty, is really just a good thing to just have in your tactical playbook all the time. So in this room, we can't really do anything yet except for grab this item from the wall safe. Just a little bit of extra pulse rifle ammo. We can eventually backtrack through there and open some more stuff up once our security clearance gets upgraded. In general, the medical area is a pretty good place to backtrack through once you get your security clearance upgraded, because there's actually a lot more stuff that you can open once that happens. But we end up coming back through here later in the game because we have some objectives to take place here. So I end up saving my backtracking for quite a bit later, from what I can remember. Alright, so now we're in this big giant zero gravity chamber. And for those of you who don't know, the Dead Space remake completely changed the zero gravity parts. So you're basically Iron Man now. You get to float around freely, kind of like Dead Space 2. Whereas in the original Dead Space 1, prior to the remake, these zero gravity parts were like, you kind of had to like jump between these pinpoint locations. You couldn't freely fly around. You kind of had to like jump from place to place. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but I do much prefer these like free floating segments. Also, in terms of items, there's really not much in here, so usually just smash that box and GTFO. There's a bunch of stuff in this room though. Also, if you'd like to get the Wishbone achievement, this room is kind of an interesting opportunity to do that if you use Kinesis to tug on one of the limbs of those suits.
No sign of her yet. But I found some hydrazine that should work on the barricade. I just need to find a shock pad.
Okay, work fast, Isaac.
Alright, that's all we have to do here. So, a Leaper shows up in this room, just one singular Leaper, and because we don't ever have to come back to this room, I just opted to save ammo and ignore him, basically. Just dodge his little attack and dip on out. Now, when you're fighting Leapers in zero gravity, you do want to be careful when you try to dodge their attacks because they can actually leap at you quicker than you can move out of the way. So you kind of have to plan your dodging motions in advance a little bit. But coming up here, we got some money in a wall safe. There's an oxygen refill station that you probably won't need because the door out of here is literally right here. But that has been our first experience with the vacuum. Also, ambush up ahead. And do the old stasis stomp maneuver. That enemy scared the absolute fucking shit out of me when I first played the game, too. I'm talking the original game, not even the remake. Like, when I was a little baby boy playing this game for the first time, that enemy took like 10 years off my life.
He almost got me.
You okay?
I trapped him in a damaged escape pod. He's snarling like, this is fucked up. Hurry, Isaac.
Alright, so we just picked up our first schematic for the pulse rounds. And there's also a medium med kit up there, so go ahead and pick that up. Two enemies show up. You got this Leaper from the front and a Slasher from behind. So if you kill this Leaper quick enough, you should be able to turn around and take care of this Slasher pretty quickly before he creeps up on you. Could have killed that guy with a little bit less ammo if my accuracy wasn't so shitty, but, you know, things happen. And now we've looped back to the security station. And now we just need to collect our shock pad. But first, we're going to stop at the store. Because we've got some stuff to drop off, like schematics. You always want to drop that shit off as soon as you can. Because it'll clog up your inventory otherwise. As you can see, I only have like 2 open inventory spots. I also went ahead and sold the stasis pack because this chapter is chock full of stasis recharge stations. And when you know where they're at, you can easily just kind of bounce between them and cheese those refills as much as you want. Which is what I'm doing right now. I'm pretty sure the only reason I re-entered that hallway was so I could recharge my stasis. And then we're off to the races. From this point forward, the chapter gets a little bit more difficult, but we're pretty well equipped at this point to deal with whatever the fuck the horrors of being in dead space can possibly have to offer. Also, I just realized I didn't need to go fucking cheese that other stasis charge because there was one right there. I feel like a real fucking genius now, you know? I really do. But you know what? It never hurts to be too careful. So take note of those rods on the floor right there. So what I'm doing here is, before we get too far into this room, I'm kind of setting up some weapons that we're going to be using. Because, as you can see, quarantine has initiated. And we are going to have kind of a big battle in this room. So these rods here, I like to call them kinesis rods. They are really stupidly good, and they pretty much one-hit kill necromorphs. They impale necromorphs to walls, and they one-hit kill them, so always keep your eyes peeled for those. Because that is like the best ammo-saving thing I can possibly think of. So there's actually only a couple necromorphs on this top floor. The majority of the enemy encounters in this room are going to be on the bottom floor. Which is why I have a special tactic cooked up just for that occasion. So yeah, fan blades and those glowing sort of rods that you can pick up are very good. So coming over here, there's this like table thing. It's kind of like a dolly shelf from Doohickey Mabob. Go ahead and break that. And then what I like to do is I like to drop these over the edge so that we can use them on the enemies down there. It's pretty genius. Also, I took a fan blade with me for good measure. Just cuz. And down we go. So, I think there's like maybe 4 or 5 kind of just basic slashers down here. Nothing too crazy, but if you get these rods and stuff ready to go, you're going to have a much easier time dealing with them. Just pick it up. Chuck it. Pick it up. And chug it. And then this enemy just kind of like snuck up on me and I couldn't find anything to throw at him in time, so I shot him. I always feel like it's shameful to shoot enemies for some reason. Alright, I believe that was the last one. Quarantine lifted, and we are good to go.
Quarantine lifted.
Hey, I just said that. Wow. Alright, so there's actually a lot of exploring to do in this room, so don't get too carried away following your waypoint marker and just, you know, do some running around. There's actually the beginning of a side quest in this room.
Dr. Janice Mercer, copy to my secure terminal. I can show me the video feed from the colony. It's remarkable to finally see what I've sought all my life. The miners, the transformation, the divide death self. Kine is erring on the side of caution. His faith has been shaken by these necromorphs, as he calls them. How strange. When my own faith has been so richly rewarded. With or without Kine, I must study one of these creatures. Or
Nice
the
secret
necromancer.
bookshelf, baby.
Brennan's patient, for example.
There's really not much in here except for some ammo and some creepy necromorph writing, but before you leave the room, make sure you go to the desk, because there's a cool little, like, hologram cutscene thing that you can watch.
Ben, what in God's name is happening down there? Precisely that. God's work. How can you say that? these deaths at the colony. The paranoia, the hallucinations. You wanted a scientific analysis? Cause and effect? Well, it all began after they raised the marker.
What are you so worried about? The marker is defined. We know this. Look, it'll be on board tomorrow. You can study it then. Put your mind at ease.
At ease? People are dying. How can that be the transformation the teachings promise?
We're witnessing a new beginning. Terrence, for unitology, for humanity. Of course our faith is being tested. Everything is about to change.
That's what worries me. And recording. Seal entry.
And that's all, folks. That's all. Alright, now we can finally make our way towards Nicole's office, which is directly across the way here.
Nicole? It's me.
Alright, so this room is where the Nicole side quest starts.
Log, Dr. Nicole Brennan. With medication and zero-G therapy, patient Harris is showing improvements. If this continues, there might be hope for the others on Aegis 7. However, Dr. Mercer continues to interfere. He claims Harris's delusions are religiously significant. If I have to make a complaint, I will. I'm not losing my patient over unitology bullshit. Not again.
There's our schematic for the stasis packs. Now we can buy those at the store.
Rig location inconclusive. Manual rig tracking is available.
Alright, well that begins the Nicole side quest, which we can follow up a little bit in this chapter, and a little bit more in the next chapter. And eventually we'll complete that. Yeah, that's another thing. This game has side quests now. The remake has got side quests. And they are definitely worth completing. Watch this poor guy get killed by the baby monster, aka the lurker. And we're about to have our first encounter with lurkers. Lurkers are pretty easy for the most part. They're a little bit more difficult on hard because they take more shots to dismember their stupid little tentacle things, which is generally the best way to kill them. But I think if you're playing on like easy or medium or whatever the fuck, you can dismember those limbs in like one shot. But on hard, it takes a little bit more than that until you upgrade the plasma cutter. There's also going to be another one. Actually, there's two of them that show up out here. So I'm getting a fan blade ready and just kind of preparing. I don't know how I only got one of the tentacles with that, but you know what? Fine. So there's a lurker behind me right now, but I just didn't even know that he was there at this point, so I was just focusing all my fire on one. And then here's this guy, and I was like, oh, hey there. Little bastard. Generally, they're, the shit that they shoot at you is pretty easy to dodge. More so in the remake than it was in the original game, just because, the controls are a little bit tighter. Isaac is a little bit less, not even a little bit, he is a lot less lumbery in this game than he was in the original. Sorry that my mouse was sitting right there. I didn't even notice that. Also, this bouncy ball here is super fun. When you come into this room, I recommend that you just take a second, just let your mind take a little bit of a break, and just have fun with this bouncy ball. Dude, this thing is so fun. Look at this shit. That's awesome. But yeah, this is where we find the shock pad, so go ahead and divert the power to the doors, because we're going to have to go that way anyway.
Daniels isn't answering her rig link. What's your status?
I found a shock pad I could use on the barricade. I'm heading back there now.
Watch the voltage on that pad. I'm not losing anyone else.
Alright, also be careful when you go through those doors. Even when you slow them down with stasis, sometimes you can like get your ass clipped in the door and it does some damage. It really sucks. But in this hallway, a nice double ambush. And I missed my stasis shot, but nobody got hurt except for the monsters, so I'm going to call it a good day. Go ahead and get that stasis refill cheese, baby. Get that cheese. But now that we finally have everything we need to blow this barricade open, we're getting pretty close to the end of the chapter at this point. Still have, like, you know, quite a bit left to do, but I'm gonna watch Isaac plant this bomb like a boss. Alright. And in we go, and immediate necromorph ambush. Do the old stasis stomp on this guy. He just like floated in my way in slow motion. I was like, get the hell out of here, man. Just be dead. Just give up.
Find Captain Mathias' body. Get his ring codes, and the computer's all ours.
So this power node right there, we actually can't get yet, because we need level 1 security clearance, which we'll be getting shortly. So we will backtrack through here and grab that power node. But for now, there's really just not much we can even do. I think for this part, I was just kind of... or for this part, my bad, I was like... I like tongue-twisted myself for no reason. I was just kind of snooping around for items, but... Then we get the next part of the Nicole quest over here.
This is Senior Medical Officer Nicole Brennan. Medical is overwhelmed. We need help. Look at his wounds. We can't handle so many trauma cases, and the command crew won't tell us what's happening.
So take note of those glowing blue tanks on the ground. Those are stasis tanks. You can shoot those, you can pick them up with kinesis and throw them, stomp them, melee them. What they do is they kind of blow up and they create like a big sort of AoE stasis. And it freezes every enemy in the vicinity. Very useful, especially considering we're going to have a bit of a fight in this room here in a sec.
Security clearance required. Level 2 security clearance required.
So as soon as you, actually wait, I'm skipping a step here, never mind. Yeah, go over here, route the power to the showers, and then you can move this thing out of the way with kinesis, and then you can find Nicole's secret little chamber. Nicole's Chamber of Secrets, if you will. Also, my inventory was full, so I think I just cheesed a stasis pack real quick so I could pick up that gold semiconductor.
Log, Dr. Nicole Brennan. So much for being paranoid. I repurposed this room to run counseling sessions without unitologists interfering. Now, it's the only place I feel safe. I recovered a limb after yesterday's attack. Genetically, it's human tissue with bizarre mutations. But it's just a sample. It's not enough to figure out a cure. I need... Wait, where's that report from engineering? Here. The engineers pulled something out of the machinery. Limbs missing, torso intact. Okay. Time for a real autopsy.
Alright. So the next part of Nicole's quest doesn't happen until Chapter 3. AKA the next chapter. So as soon as you yeet that battery out of the socket, a fight starts. 2 lurkers show up, and then some slashers show up. So you kind of want to just kill these lurkers super fucking quick. Usually the lurkers aren't that aggressive, but sometimes they do chase you and actually go in for melee attacks. Also, this little bitch just like spammed me with fucking bullshit. Took some damage there. But now the slashers show up, so optimally you kill those lurkers before these guys show up, which luckily I did. Best way to kill the slashers, if I, you know, obviously target the legs and then flip the stasis to the vertical fire mode, and then aim for the elbow. Also, you can kill them easily with their own limbs a lot of the time. If you shoot one of their arms off, you can pick it up with kinesis and shoot it back at them. And it does a lot of damage. Alright, so that takes care of that fight. I think I may have missed some pulse rifle ammo, but my inventory was already so fucking full at this point, I don't even know if I could have picked it up if I wanted to. Alright, but now we're in the emergency room hallway. I think this is ER hallway A. And there's a little bit of items and shit to pick up in here. Not a whole lot goes on in this part of the hallway except for this little ambush. So you actually want to shoot that lurker, because otherwise he runs further down the hallway and he stages an ambush with Mr. Asshole down there. Yeah, the Leaper. It's the tale of the lurker and the Leaper. So, again, you know, just remember to use stasis. That's really the best thing I can do. I just ended up cheesing that guy with a fucking grenade. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to waste plasma ammo. I have so much pulse rifle ammo, so it's like, you know what? When in Rome. I definitely didn't have to do that, but, like, fuck it. So, the game kind of fucked me over on this next part. And it was kind of my fault, because I didn't really anticipate a certain enemy having invincibility frames. But, you're gonna see what I'm talking about here. So this jerk jumps down, and I'm like, look at me go! So I decide to throw a rod at him, which is usually a one-hit kill. But it didn't do anything, because he had invincibility frames. So, that fucked me up, because you get attacked by, like, a couple guys in this hallway, right? So, yeah, I got all sorts of goofed up here. I think I just ended up using a grenade to cheese them. One thing that's cool about explosives and, you know, weapons like the force gun in this game is that, as you see right there, you can blow the fucking skin off of necromorphs, and then they attack you as just this, like, terrifying looking skeleton monster with all of this, like, flesh and sinew sticking out. Like, it's, ew, it's trippy.
The situation's worse than Captain Matthias will admit. 40% of the colony's population is now showing symptoms. Depression, hallucinations, more violence. People are dying down there. I know it's linked to the marker somehow, but I just don't have enough data. For certain. Maybe I was wrong. We need answers by any means possible. That patient, Brent Harris, might be our last hope.
This is a fucked up episode of Grey's Anatomy. Hopefully YouTube doesn't, like, age restrict the fuck out of my video for that, because YouTube is not a fan of some of the violence in this game. Like, really isn't. I really hope I don't get, like, bodied by YouTube playing this game. Alright. As you come into this hallway, don't worry about this hull breach. It immediately fixes itself. Thanks, ship. You will get attacked by a lurker, though, and I think I just kind of, like, I tried to huck the battery at him, but it, like, didn't work. That would have been a pretty funny way to kill the necromorph. Although I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, some objects... You do not want to use kinesis for everything. Like, 9 times out of 10, like, most objects that you throw with kinesis do no damage. The only things that you want to throw are, like, the fan blades, the rods, and the necromorph limbs. And the explosive canisters, obviously. That's a gimme. But, alright. Now we're in the morgue, and the captain's rig is in the next room right up ahead. There's also some random ammo and some of these open, whatchamacallit, morgue slots? I can't think of what they're called. Morgue slots! Alright. So, before you get into this situation, make sure that you're not low on health and ammo. Just a little heads up. I don't know where Isaac got that fire extinguisher, but fuck yeah. First thing you want to do is stasis that motherfucker and run away, because we have a more important thing to do. First thing you want to do is kill the Necromorph Infector. Because what he does, if you do not kill him right away, is he starts infecting the corpses that are laying around, and he creates more of these guys. So this is our first encounter with the enhanced Necromorphs. And this guy's actually pretty easy, but if you guys remember the enhanced Necromorphs from Dead Space 1, it's basically the same thing. They're just beefier. They do more damage. They take more firepower to take down. But in general, on this part, you can make things a lot easier. If you kill that Infector before you take on Captain Matthias. And then we go in and we pick up his rig.
Isaac, what's your status?
And we're all done, baby.
Captain's rig.
Fuck me. Ugh. Transmitting codes now. I saw it, Hammond. A flying one turned the captain's body into another one of those things. The same must have happened to Chen.
God. Maybe the command computer has something. Where's Daniels when you need her? Head back to the security checkpoint. It's safer there. At least I can upgrade your clearance.
Alright, so this leads us back to the emergency room. This was actually that door that was locked earlier when we first went to the emergency room. So now we have opened it from the other side, Dark Souls style. Like a little shortcut.
Isaac,
I'm here. What the hell's happening?
the computer says the Ishimura's engines are offline. We're on a decaying orbit toward Aegis 7.
Oh god. I have to get to engineering.
There's no time. That tram station's offline.
Clearance confirmed.
Unless... Here. Head back to the flight deck. I'll guide you from there. If this damage report's right, there's a shortcut to engineering.
Hey, there's those pulse rifle rounds that I missed earlier. I didn't miss them after all. Alright, so later in the game, it's, like I said earlier, it's worth backtracking through the medical area, but it's better to wait until your security clearance is up to level 2, because there's a little bit more shit that you can open up. But as you can see, we were able to double back and get that power node at last. I was getting separation anxiety from that power node. But yeah, I think I stopped at the store to sell some stuff, and I think I also bought some power nodes too, because I just decided, fuck it, I want to upgrade stuff. So yeah, I think that's exactly what I did. Was I bought 2 power nodes, and still had a decent bit of money to spare too. And then as soon as I got to a workbench, I don't even remember what I upgraded. I think I just upgraded the plasma cutter a whole bunch. I'm sure that's what I did. Because the plasma cutter upgrades are really, really good. And as you can see, we have a like an actual plasma cutter upgrade. So one thing that I should definitely note is that it is definitely worth buying the weapon upgrades, even for weapons that you don't plan on using. And the reason for that is because every weapon upgrade gives you a free power node that goes along with it when you take it to the bench. So even if you're not going to use a certain weapon, you should still get the upgrades, just for the free power node. It's not exactly free, but you know.
Now arriving at flight deck tram control.
Alright, now we find ourselves at the end of the chapter. But first I went this way to use the bench. Slap some upgrades on my shit. Plasma cutter upgrade. Yes, so see, every time you bring one of those upgrades to the bench, you get a free fucking power node. It's great. And then I was just like, fuck it, I'll just upgrade everything on this thing. Damage, capacity, and I got the cartridge rack. I can't even off the top of my head remember what the cartridge rack even does. I really don't. It's good. I'll tell you that much. But all we have to do at this point is go back to the hangar and kind of have a little talky-talk with Hammond. And that's going to be the end of Chapter 2. And then Chapter 3 is still in progress. I'm still replaying it on my own time. I think I'm on my second replay of Chapter 3, where I'm just, you know, still taking notes and trying to figure out the best way to do certain encounters with enemies and figuring out where all the good items are at. Chapter 3 is a little bit more complicated than Chapter 2, so Chapter 2 was, in my opinion, very, very, very straightforward. Oh yeah, there's also a hologram here if you want to watch Chen get murdered all over again. Oh yeah, dude, that necromorph's a baller on a budget. He said, fuck Chen, specifically. He just wandered off. Alright. Back to the hangar.
Isaac, this damage report says there's a broken cargo lift just beyond the hangar doors. I'll open them now.
Entering zero gravity.
Alright, so, now that we have zero gravity access in the hangar, we now have access to a giant fucking area that we can pretty much explore the entirety of. And I'm actually going to edit out the majority of me just floating around and grabbing items, because that's going to be, like, super fucking boring. But, as we jump into Chapter 3, I will, you know, I'll show where some of the stuff is at. But I do recommend you fly around this chamber and just grab as many items as you possibly can, because there's a lot of shit here. But that's going to be the end of that. And, again, I uploaded this directly to YouTube, because if you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's because I don't really have a better way of doing it, man. My setup is so goddamn convoluted right now. There's nothing I can even do about it. But you know what? I'm gonna leave a like on my own video. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do that. I should leave a dislike on my own video. That's some real low self-esteem shit. But anyway, yep. Chapter 3 will hopefully be coming here in a little bit, as soon as I'm done. You know, getting good enough at it to do this, I suppose. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos up to this point, and I will see you next time.